I loved fitness. I loved to use that kind of as a catalyst for my growth. And I kind of started that pretty early, becoming pregnant and then going through the process of having to regain strength, having to understand how my body worked again, feeling completely different. It was something that left me pretty confused, really didn't know where to start after having a baby because there's not a lot of information, even now, but especially then, a few years ago, there was even less information. And I went back to work and I was like, okay, this is not the same. And then I went back to exercise and I was like, oh wow, things are very different. And so, for me, that kind of led me on a path of there needs to be more information about this.
Welcome everyone to our channel, Meta Transitions. I am your host, Tricia K. Williams, and I just want to thank you for being here. Just to let you know, upcoming, we have guests that are going to share their transition stories with you, talk a bit about their lives, and also, share tips that are going to help you with your transition stories. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meta Transitions. I am your host, Tricia K. Williams, and I am here with Ameera. Ameera is a proud wife and mama of 4. She's also a vegan chef, a foodie, and homeschool mama. As a birth worker with over 10 years of experience, she has worked as an assistant midwife and as a doula. She wears many hats, but ultimately she's a purpose-driven woman on the road to self-mastery. Ameera knows the world would be a good place if filled with strong, empowered women. And being an online fitness coach, it is her way of getting it one step closer. Her mission is to help restore the self-love in postpartum women and all women, giving them the blueprint to regain body confidence through fitness. Now, thank you, Ameera, for joining us. I look forward to hearing, about this wonderful contribution that you're wanting to give to the world. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So let's jump right in. What is your transition story?
So first of all, I just want to say I love the topic of your show because I think so often we don't highlight those transitions in our life. And for you to do that is something that's just so different and so needed in the world right now because the transitions are often the time where we make the biggest decisions in our life. And so I wanted to say thank you again for that. For me, I feel like that transition story came with me becoming a mother. Mm-hmm. And really kind of becoming a wife and then becoming a mother, all in the same year. Yeah. And it was a huge transition because, of course, I was coming into just adulthood and having to learn adulting and all of this stuff. And then becoming married to my husband. And that was just a beautiful event and beautiful moment. Yeah. And then getting pregnant with my son. And I was like, whoa. And for me, it changed a lot because, and I know this is probably true for a lot of mothers out there, this changed so much because, you go from looking out for, yourself and what are your needs and what are your wants and having to figure yourself out to having to figure out a whole nother person. Yeah. And I was always that type of person who I loved fitness. I loved to feel strong. I loved to, use that kind of as a catalyst for my growth. And I kind of started that pretty early. I started helping other people with that pretty early. Yeah. And so, becoming pregnant and then going through the process of having to regain strength, having to understand how my body worked again, feeling completely different, was a very, very interesting transition for me. Mm-hmm. And, it was something that left me pretty confused, I want to say. I was really, really didn't know where to start, after having a baby, because there's not a lot of information, even now, but especially then, a few years ago, there was even less information about what to do to kind of get that strength of core back, but also to get that strength back in general after having a baby. So it was like, oh, just jump back into, what you do. 6 weeks after you have a baby, they're like, oh, you can go back to exercise, sex, working, everything. And I went back to work. And I was like, okay, this is not the same. And then I went back to exercise and I was like, oh, wow, things are very different. And so, for me, that kind of led me on a path of self-discovery, but then it also led me on a path of there needs to be more information about this. As I got certified as a coach, I was like, okay, let me go to the best personal training, institution that you can get certified for, that I know of. And so I went to NASM and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to get all this information about how to help myself and how to help other women to go through this transition.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Tricia K, there was one paragraph of information in my textbook about helping postpartum women. Actually, it was about helping prenatal women to go through that transition, how to modify certain exercises when you're pregnant. And so I thought that couldn't be right. And I started looking through the glossary of the book. I started going through and, trying to find any information that they researched or anything. And there was nothing else. And so for me, that was just like a real turning point moment. Like, we have to do something about this. And we have to kind of, take back and reinstill those postpartum traditions in our homes, in our lives, but also in fitness. Like, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my transition. I went on to realize that there are so many different challenges, like unique challenges that come with the postpartum period. And to kind of get a hold of, what it is that we need to do. And so now I train postpartum women to close abscess recti, to deal with different challenges that come with that transition period of having just had a baby. So that's my story.
Yeah, no, I'm listening to you and I'm like, what do you mean there was no information? Like, this is something that's been like from the beginning of time. How could this not have been studied? Like, I'm already like, what? But and I can understand that was your reaction as well. What do you mean? This is all that's there. So it sounds like you were able to identify a gap, right? Where women, in a sense, that idea of what happens after you have a child, in a sense, wasn't being looked at, wasn't being taken care of. It's sort of the expectation was that you just go back to things as normal. But recognizing for yourself that wasn't the case. There's no, this is a new sense of self. You can't go back. And needing to figure out how to transition yourself, and that reflecting in yourself and in your own experience, and going to school to find out how you can help yourself, helped you to recognize a gap in the health and wellness of women at that period of time. And then you creating this method that helps women now to deal with postpartum transitions and going back to work, and helping their body to go back. So tell me more about what that experience maybe was like for you, and how do you help women to make that transition?
Yes. So I like to really delve into the mind, body, spirit of fitness. And I think, when we only address the body, which has kind of been the problem in the mainstream world, the fitness world, that's been the problem. We're only addressing the body, and we don't address the postpartum challenges. We don't address the postpartum, mental challenges, all of those different things. And so for me, what I like to really do is walk a mama through the process. And so we like to go into, what are some of your mental triggers? What are some of your physical triggers that make you overeat or undereat? What are some of the things that you can do to better take care of yourself, so that as a mother, you can take care of other people. And, for me, that process was a long one. And so I always like to tell people, like, I'm shaving years off the time of your fitness journey because it can be confusing. When I looked out, like, okay, well, let me fill in this information that, wasn't available to me. I went to websites, like countless hundreds of websites, medical journals, exercise journals, all of these different things to try to understand, what are some of the things that we should be addressing in the body. And so I was able to actually go through this method, correct some of these challenges in myself. And that really, really inspired me. And also, I felt like I had to take that time to understand not just, like I said, not just the physical challenges, but also what are some of the mental challenges. And so I like to call myself a body doula.
Yeah.
Because, a doula literally kind of walks you through the process of birth or different transitions in your life. And so for me, with this big transition, and for other mothers, I like to kind of walk you through that process step by step. And so I do online fitness coaching. And I like to do that in a group setting, in a one-on-one setting. And I kind of bring you into an understanding of your specific plan. Where is it that you're coming from? And we go into what are your specific wins, your specific strengths and challenges. And I kind of craft a personal plan for you from that point. And so that's pretty much the gist. But there are just many different elements I think that we have to bring to the table when it comes to fitness now. Yeah. And we have to be a little smarter when it comes to fitness now. We have to be a little more, I want to say creative, but I don't think that's really the word. I feel like we have to be a little more looking at the whole person,
to be more holistic.
We have to be more holistic. We look at one part when we look at a woman or man, and usually from a mainstream point of view, we're following, a program that's generic for a 35-year-old man. And that part has to change, so with this transition of life after having a baby, there are some things that never go back. You know what I mean? So I'm always telling women the first thing you have to shift is your expectation that things are going back. We have to go forward. And a lot of times it's forward to something even better. I know a lot of mothers that come out looking even better, that come out even stronger than they've ever been, and that really like fix and correct a lot of challenges that they may have had even before pregnancy. So we're going forward now. And, it's a beautiful thing to witness that transformation, to watch someone go forward in their journey, just from having the right tools. And I love that.
Yeah. No, I'm hearing that sense of passion that you have for it, and I'm pulling out different things. So not only is the physical body hopefully going to change, right, but you're also hoping for a mindset change as well, which is really important. In people recognizing that this transformation and change isn't necessarily something that, you're going back to, but it's something that hopefully you will look forward to in the future, and that you're working towards. And, it sounds like you have specific modules and lots of experience and research that backs, the program that you create and that's tailored to individuals, which is amazing, because a lot of times there is sort of this idea in the fitness world that, this formula is going to work for everybody. But I hear you in the sense that everybody's different. So it would make sense that the program that would be tailored to each individual person's needs and where they're at, especially mental health wise.
Well, thank you for watching. We really appreciate that you made it all the way to the end. Please like this video and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell if you would like to watch new videos that we publish. There might be friends and family that you know who might benefit from the tips that were shared. Just share it with them. and watch another video. Thank you so much.